And we have breaking news from the UK. Buckingham Palace says King Charles will strip his younger brother Andrew of his titles and honors and force him out of his home. The CBC's Hilary Johnstone joins me now with the details. So Hilary, we knew there were the titles, but this is
the
just
Duke
sort
of York, which he lost that title. He had voluntarily agreed to give that up just a couple weeks ago that you and I were speaking about this breaking news. But we have another major development, and that is Buckingham Palace announcing just minutes ago that Prince Andrew will no longer be Prince Andrew. He will lose that title of prince. And yes, our viewers will remember a few weeks ago when they did come out and announce that the Duke of York would no longer be known that way. He would only be known as Prince Andrew, of course, the son of the late Queen Elizabeth II. But we do have this breaking news from Buckingham Palace that he will lose the prince title. And at the time, just a couple of weeks ago when we were speaking about this, we spoke about the fact that it was unlikely he would lose the prince title because that was a title that he received when he was born, because he was born to the son of a sitting monarch, like I say, the late Queen Elizabeth II. But we have just heard from Buckingham Palace that he will lose that title. He will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. So I'd like to bring you that statement in full, and we'll read it through. So it says, quote, His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles, and honors of Prince Andrew. His lease on Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease, and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. And then, quite interestingly, this statement concludes, Andrew, by saying their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. And of course, the other thing that our viewers will remember is that Prince Andrew, as he used to be known, and his relationship with the sex offender, Jeffery Epstein, that is something that has caused him problems now for years. You'll remember that BBC interview from back in 2019 about his relationship with Jeffery Epstein at the time, and the issues that has caused him since. And just a couple of weeks ago, there were new allegations that emerged saying that even after Prince Andrew had said that he was no longer in communication with Jeffrey Epstein, that he had actually continued to be in contact with him after he had said that he had broken off contact when some of the allegations about Jeffrey Epstein had come to light. The other thing that, of course, has happened in recent weeks, which we spoke about just a couple of weeks ago, were the allegations related to his relationship with an alleged Chinese spy. This was an individual who was very close with China's president, with Xi Jinping, was often called sort of his right-hand man, and it emerged that Prince Andrew had at times maintained a relationship of some sort with this alleged Chinese spy, even inviting him to Buckingham Palace at some point. So what it is that has prompted all of this to happen, it's still unclear. Just a couple of weeks ago, the palace had come out and said that he would no longer be known as the Duke of York. He was losing a number of other honorary titles. They said he was going to do this sort of willingly because it would create, or it would take rather, an act of Parliament to formally strip him of those titles. They decided that that was not the best way to move forward at the time. So the only other thing I'd mention here related to his home, the Royal Lodge, this is on the Windsor estate. He has a 75-year lease that he had paid for in advance. There had been questions in recent weeks in the British media about how he had paid for that, how he was continuing to fund him living on the Windsor estate, and now it emerging that he will no longer be living there. The BBC is reporting just in the last few minutes that he will instead move to a private residence on the Sandringham estate, which will be funded privately by King Charles.
What's interesting about this, I think, Hilary, you help me on this. I've been following some other news, but is that so he voluntarily gave up those titles a few weeks ago. We talked about that. Then it was going to be, to be an act of Parliament to remove his prince.
Which would take up valuable parliamentary time.
But this is the king. King Charles saying that he has initiated removing or stripping him.
Stripping him of these titles. Yeah. And why now? Why did they not do this a couple weeks ago? Are there more allegations that are perhaps about to come to light? We don't know any of that. This is really just coming out in the past few moments at Buckingham Palace saying that he will no longer be known as Prince Andrew, instead will be known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. And remember a few weeks ago as well, his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, who he is still very close with, would also no longer be using her title, the Duchess of York. At the time, none of this applied to their two children, their daughters, Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice. Whether any of these latest developments affect them, still unclear. This really just breaking just a few moments ago.
Hillary, thank you.
Thank you.
CBC's Hillary Johnstone.